What's going on, y'all? It's Psychic Charm, and LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er. I didn't see this happening. I thought that there was other teams that had a better shot at getting LeBron. I thought like the Warriors, the Heat, the Cavaliers, all those teams had like a better shot at getting LeBron. I mean, he had ties there, whether it be he played there before or he knew the guys like Steph Curry or Draymond, and there was some sort of connection there in that way. But the Sixers were a weird one. They were kind of a wild card in this. He went to the wild card, and the Sixers, LeBron is a Sixer. I'll go ahead and get started. So firstly on LeBron, it feels a little bit odd from a legacy point of view. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating and saying that, oh, he shouldn't have went to the Sixers, like he's ring chasing or something. Like, I don't really care. I mean, I think he should go to a team that puts him in a good chance to win the championship. And I don't think that this makes the Sixers an automatic favorite. I think that there are concerns with this roster as constructed right now. It does feel weird from that perspective because he's never played for the Sixers. But that being said, though, that doesn't mean that it can't be memorable or a cool period of LeBron's career at the very end. And who knows, it could be even more memorable if he wins a championship with the Sixers and maybe even wins a Finals MVP. He might still be capable of that. It looked like that in the playoffs this year. He played like a top 10 player in the world in the playoffs. He's probably going to retire a Sixer. He said that this is his last decision. And we know Bron, he likes to cap. He might end his career there. And that does feel weird over like Cleveland or Miami or Golden State. Like, these are places that we could think that he would end his career at because it just made sense from that. Like going back home or playing with your buddies into the twilight of your career or playing, I guess, in your second home of Miami. It made sense from that way. He didn't choose that. And we'll go ahead and get started talking about the team and kind of how I view this team, how it's constructed now, the pros and the cons. And I'm going to get started with the pros first, that this starting five is going to be really good. This is going to be one of the best, if not the best, starting five in the NBA. They could be a top 5 offense next year. I think they will. And they could be number 1, 2, 3. Like, they're going to be in the mix of that. And just by the firepower they have in their 5. I mean, you have Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron, and Joel Embiid. Like, this is a really good starting 5. And any night, these guys could take over. Like, LeBron could be your best player. Embiid can. Maxey can. Brown can. All these guys could give you 30. Maybe even VJ Edgecombe now. This is going to be one of the best 5s in the NBA. And I think people are overrating certain concerns that this roster has, like particularly usage and whatnot, who's going to handle the ball and do all that, and how are y'all going to play off ball. I'm not necessarily concerned about that because I think a lot of these players have played off ball in their career and not had to have the basketball in their hand to be an impactful player. Like LeBron played next to Luka last year and he was successful in that. Tyrese Maxey has earlier in his career. And Joel Embiid, I think Joel Embiid can play good and make plays without the basketball. And that was a lot of what VJ Edgecombe did last year. The only kind of weird one I could see is maybe Jaylen Brown in there. I think this is going to be one of the best offensive teams in the NBA, and they're not going to be fun for a lot of teams to play if matched up with, and even in the playoffs too. To get to the cons, I have some small ones first and then I'll get to the big ones. So one of the small ones I have is 3-point shooting. I think Edgecombe and Maxey can shoot threes at a good clip and make it, but the rest of their roster, and especially the rest of the guys in the starting 5, like Jaylen Brown isn't a great 3-point shooter. He can do it. LeBron wasn't last year, but maybe he can get back to doing that. And Joel Embiid, he isn't a good volume 3-point shooter. I don't think that this is a huge concern because I think that there's worse space teams and that there's so much offense here that, they could make it work, and that these players have played in teams that have had bad spacing before and have made it work. So I think that that is a concern and could rear its head sometimes, and we see that, but I'm not really that concerned about that. I guess it's kind of a neutral, I guess not a con, but it could be. The weirdest fit, I guess, out of their 5 is Jaylen Brown, because if there is a guy that I don't know how well he can play being like maybe the 4th option on a team or like 3rd, it really could depend night to night, is Jaylen Brown. He's always been the 2nd option to Tatum, and last year he was the 1st option. A lot of Jaylen Brown's game really depends on him having the ball in his hands. I feel like that's where a lot of his numbers really come from and his impact. That's the only awkward kind of fit, but he could make it possibly work too. I'm not saying that that's a thing that won't happen, but it is something that if there is going to be an odd man out, I think it is Jaylen Brown. And a small concern that might rear its head a couple years from now, and we might think is funny, maybe this won't be, but what Jaylen Brown said about Bronny and Joel Embiid. He hasn't said positive things about them, and I think Tracy McGrady, who's a friend of Jaylen Brown, has said that Jaylen Brown hasn't spoken to Joel Embiid, and this was kind of a good bit after the trade. Maybe they have now, hopefully. I could see that maybe be a chemistry issue if there is one. I don't know if I'm that concerned about it. That's like a wild card that could happen. Those are some small ones I have, and the big ones I have now is depth. Depth is an issue with this team. I don't really like the depth of this team. I'm glad they got Anthony Simons, but outside of Anthony Simons, you got Dean Wade, Dominic Barlow, Adem Bona, LeBaron Philon, LeBaron and LeBron. That'll be cool. I don't really like the depth of this team. I mean, Anthony Simons will be good off the bench, and I like that. Dominic Barlow isn't a good shooter. Adem Bona is a fine big, and same thing with like Huck Porty. I forgot about him too. And LeBaron Philon is an unproven player. Dean Wade, I think, will be good off the bench, more so for his offense, but I don't really think that this is a particularly deep team. I don't think the depth is like horrible. It could start to look that way at some points in the season, and the reason why I say that's because injuries. Joel Embiid last year played 38 games, and the year before that he played 19 games. He's not been healthy since that MVP season he put up a couple years back, and even in the playoffs he wasn't healthy, and he rested a lot for the playoffs. Didn't play majority of the regular season, and once he got to the playoffs, like, he was still not playing. And then even that game 7 in Boston, he would kind of go down, and it'd be like, is he getting back up or is he okay? And he would be, but even in that Knicks series, Joel doesn't, his health really does concern me. LeBron, I don't know if he'll play a full season, probably not. Last year he did play 60 games, which is majority of the season, but again, that's some games in there that he's gonna miss. And that this roster in a regular season context, I don't know how well it'll be if those two guys are gone. And I'm not really that concerned about VJ because he had a healthy rookie year. Not saying that next year, he was healthy his rookie year. Jaylen Brown and Maxey have been Iron Men in the regular season, so I'm not particularly concerned about them either. It's those other two guys, and mainly just Joel Embiid. And also, too, if you're not able to develop chemistry with the starting five, like if this starting five plays like a combined 15 or 23 games together and they're going to the playoffs, I don't know how I feel about them as a contender at that point. If this team plays 15 to 23 or 25, you've barely played the entire season together. I don't know how well you can develop chemistry as a team at that point. Maybe you can, but that is something that is a concern there because of health. And kind of playing off of that a little bit is defense as well. Joel Embiid hasn't looked like the same defender he was in his prime. And I think at certain points, especially in the playoffs, he got exposed for that and looked slow and not as athletic as he used to be or be able to really jump. Your big man is the most impactful defender on the court. If he can't be good defensively, then I don't know how good this team will be defensively, because I think VJ and Jaylen Brown are locks. I think Maxey's a pretty solid defender. Outside of that, LeBron, I don't know how locked in he's going to be at that end. Joel, I don't really trust him at this point in his career, but maybe he can. But that's truly a wild card at that point. And they're bench defensively, Dean Wade, I don't really love. Adem Bona can. I don't know if this team could be a top 10 defense. In the last, I think, 25 years, only 3 teams have won a championship without being a top 10 defense. That being the 2001 Lakers, the 2018 Warriors, and the 2023 Nuggets. It's very rare to win a championship and not be a top 10 defense in the league. And usually the best teams, the top seeded teams, are really, really good defenses if you look in the past couple of years. Just the top teams in general. And that is something that I could see, especially if Joel is out and their rotation's screwed up. I could see that being an issue. But if they can get that together, I think they're a true contender. If they can't, then I don't know how much I believe in this team as a championship contender. That being said, I think that they could be better than last year on that end defensively. Losing Kelly Oubre hurts, but getting Jaylen Brown, he's a pretty good defender. So I don't know. I don't know how much they'll really improve on that end, because I think they were 18th last year in defense, or 17th, somewhere in that range. They were in a top 15 defense. I don't know if you can really win a championship with having a really mid defense. And maybe they can, maybe they'll prove me wrong and they'll be the exception and they'll join those 3 other teams in that club. But that is probably my biggest concern with this roster is the defense and depth as well, and injuries. And these all kind of play into each other and is why this is a concern. That being said, I think overall this is a very positive trade, because why wouldn't you get LeBron James on the minimum for 2 years, especially seeing what he did to the Houston Rockets in the playoffs? Like, I'm not against this trade at all. It sucks that the Miami Heat, my team, did not get him. It is what it is. I think that this is going to be a pretty good team. I think they'll be a top 4 seed in the East. I do have questions about them being a legitimate championship contender. I think there might be some other teams in the East that might be better, but they're certainly top of the notch. They have their concerns, but they also have some pretty high upside. The only thing I'll say to end this video is, why didn't they keep Jared McCain? Imagine if they kept Jared McCain. Like, why? Why did Daryl Morey do that? I don't know. I think that was a massive mistake on that part. Just imagine if he was playing, but Jared McCain on this team too? Like, ugh, man. It's crazy. LeBron's a Sixer. I still can't really believe it. But I think it'll be a pretty cool era seeing Bron in a Sixers jersey, especially that classic Sixers jersey. That's all I got to say for this video. If y'all enjoyed, give it a like, subscribe, comment, do all that usual YouTube stuff. And this has been Psychic Charm. Peace out.
Trust in the process more than anything. I think you trust the process of actually getting to that point.